Friday night at the MCG, it was the Pies up against the reigning premiers. Damo's telling Collingwood fans, don't get ahead of yourself. But, Lordo, I think they've got every right.
They should be excited, the fans, because a lot of people thought, they won games in a lucky way. I don't think you can win that many close games. It can't be luck, in my opinion. In the last quarter, it was 5 goals, 2 to 4 behinds. And being there live to watch it, the running capacity of Collingwood, like even Crisp and, Pendlebury, they're older players. The Goey, they were just electric with their run. Geelong were flat-footed and they just couldn't burst or go at all. So I think that was where it was won. And just on Collingwood, they had their pre-season game. They beat Hawthorn 106 to 100. And some were saying, where are Collingwood at? They'd ran 11 Ks in the session the 2 days beforehand. So they didn't care about the pre-season. That was just another training session. So their fitness, Brownie, really shone out on Friday night.
And it did, Lordo. We heard Craig McRae a lot of times last year say, Collingwood, you've got to harder for longer, and the fact that you need to play 4 quarters against us to beat us. And that was exactly what happened the other night. So they play assertive defence and they come up really high, which exposed them out the back on a number of occasions. And a lot of these were early. So a lot of the defenders up high. Moore is up there, so too is Howe, and they get him out the back. And this is what happened for probably the best part of 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, but their mantra, go harder for longer. So again, they're up here. There's so much space in the forward half of the ground, and the Cats got them time and time again. But if their mantra is to go harder for longer, eventually it was going to catch up with them because they want to go hard. This is the 3rd one, and these are all in the first half, and Geelong had a comfortable lead. Collingwood push all their numbers up, and they've got no hope out the back because they're exposed. But after half-time, they started to get the ball on their terms. They started to outnumber the Cats. So let's have a look at how Collingwood... What does it look like? What does harder for longer look like? And this is what it is for Collingwood. They get numbers around the football, so they outnumber in the contest, and then they run. And then they like to open up the ground at their end as well. So when they use their leg speed, which Geelong didn't have, they got the ball out the back. Jamie Elliott was pace. McCreery had pace. And they don't get a goal out of this, but this is what set the tone. Have a look at this. They outnumber them at the contest again, and then they run. This is the replays behind the goals vision, but they've got runners here they don't use. They've got runners out with side bottom they don't use. They've got another runner out the back, and they kick a goal from this, and all of a sudden they start. This is the 3rd quarter. This is late in the game, so this is how hard Collingwood
Are we going to see the whole last quarter?
And then this one. Have a look. Mark in the middle. You've got 3 players you can give this ball to. You've got a 4th one here, if not. So they're running harder than Geelong. They get the ball outside 50, and they just went harder for longer, the Collingwood Football Club. And then this is the last one. Tom Mitchell up here on Patrick Dangerfield. Ball comes in. He goes harder. He gets there first, and he kicks the goal, which puts them level, and then starts the onslaught in the long quarter. So last quarter. That was a long edit, but it was worth it because Collingwood were very good at what they did.
OK, that wraps it up for this edition of the Sunday Footy Show. No, because I'll tell you what we've got now. It's angry and it's back. It is time for the volcano. Oh, no.
Well, back-to-back premierships are hard to win for a reason, and that's because you get a little bit complacent. I'm not necessarily worried about Geelong, but some interesting things that I saw as they ran out on Friday night. So let's roll the vision. They're really happy with themselves here. We just won a premiership, O'Connor. How good's this? We're back on the MCG. Look at Grind Rise. How good's this? You're about to play a game of footy now in isolation. I wouldn't be too worried about that. But then when I look at the vision and what I saw, I go, hang on, maybe they are just a little bit complacent, just a fraction. Now, Brownie stole my thunder. Dangerfield, the new captain, on Tom Mitchell here. Look, this is a stoppage. Look at the time. Look how critical this is. Down by 6 points, a goal early in the last quarter. Dangerfield, ball watching. Are you really defending? Would you have done that in the grand final, Patrick Dangerfield? Have you become just a little bit complacent? Because look at the distance that he's given him in the space of 20 minutes. Game on the line early in the last quarter. That was poor defending. OK, there's one instance. Look at Holmes and De Goey up here. Are you really defending? Holmes, you missed the grand final. How hungry are you? Because in the space of 5 seconds, he's given the most dangerous player on the ground 20 metres, and look what happens. Mark, easy, goal, inside 50. Did he really want to defend, or was he more worried about getting a kick himself? And O'Connor, once again, look at the time. Game on the line last quarter, O'Connor and McCreery. Are you really defending like your life is depending on it? Are you really running to the fall of the ball? He's behind here. Look, he wants it more. He bobs up in the goal square. So they laid 44 tackles on Friday night. Their average was 58. Last year, just a few signs that they were pretty happy with themselves, the Cats.
OK, come on. Just put it on the record. Your first observation about them daring to smile when they ran out, that was tongue-in-cheek, surely.
No, it's not in isolation, yes, TJ, but then when you marry it up with the footage, which I've just shown, when you marry it up with their lack of intensity, with the 44 tackles, with the edits that I've just shown, it's the whole package that says, OK, if you're not fully on, you're going to get found out in this game.
They've also now got some injuries to contend with, Kane. We'll get to those in a moment after we take a look at what happened to Jeremy Howe in the same game. And he has had surgery on an arm yesterday after a tremendously courageous act of football courage against Tyson Stengel. And we just don't know, and the club doesn't know how long he's going to be out. But it was a dramatic moment amongst a dramatic period of time in the game when he was taken to hospital as a result of that compound fracture and the severe fractures in the arm. And earlier in the match, Tom Stewart did this on his knee and has been subbed out of the game. And again, we just don't know what duration of time he's going to spend on the sidelines. It's a major concern. Such an important player to the club. And also, too, Sam De Koning went down also innocuously in the same game. Already Jack Henry was out and Kola Jasny not playing in the game. It's a problem for the Geelong backs. And the surface of the MCG, it was an issue. Chris Scott spoke about it post-match, as others have as well, Patrick Dangerfield included. And also Carlton's Sam Doherty, going back to his experiences on Thursday night.
Having been a person that's done a couple of ACLs, I was extremely nervous pre-game when I walked out there and saw the differences in the turf from the stuff that's been there for a while and the newly laid stuff. So I was surprised there wasn't going to be any injuries in our game, and then watching last night was probably what I expected to happen.
Interesting insight from a guy who has, as he said, has done the 2 ACLs, and to worry about that before the game's even started. So that's obviously in reference to the relaying of the turf as a result of the Ed Sheeran concerts a couple of weeks ago. So it is a concern to come out of round one that we've now got multiple people prepared to talk on record regarding it.
Just want to go back to Collingwood and Geelong, and for me this was the highlight of the game. I think one of the highlights of the off-season was the elevation of Darcy Moore as captain, but to actually see him show that leadership which he's been showing off the field, on the field with that was just a beautiful piece of work, was it not? It really was. And the irony, of course, is a young man who wanted to get out of Collingwood.
Have we seen like such venom or crowd get involved with such a young player before? Like a player who's played, was it 1 year or 2 years at Collingwood? One year at the club. Have we seen it? It might be like that when, I don't know if North can get a crowd with Horn Francis, I suppose, but just couldn't believe that how much it's hurt them that this guy's left after 12 months of footy. I've never seen anything.
It got the crowd going, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But anyway, well done to Darcy Moore there.